Hello viewers, I am Dr. Sarita Devi and today we will discuss about the topic that is the transpiration. Before we start with the transpiration, we should know about the absorption of the water, and for the absorption of water we have already studied in the last lecture that absorption of water occurs through the roots or the root hairs and it reaches to the xylem of the root, and from the xylem of the root it conducted upwards through the xylem stream of the stem and finally it reaches to the xylem of the leaf, from where it diffuses into the atmosphere through the with the help of the stomata. So, we will start with the transpiration. A large quantities of the water is absorbed by the plants and most of the water is transpired into the atmosphere with the help of the transpiration. So, what is the definition, actual definition of the transpiration? It is the evaporation of the water from the aerial parts of the plants in the form of the water vapors. It is known as the transpiration. Approximately 95 to 99% of the water is transpired into the air in the form of the water vapors. Then come to the types of the transpiration. How many types of the transpiration occurs? There are three types of the transpiration. First one is the lenticular transpiration, through which only 0.1% of the water is transpired through the woody parts of the plants or the lenticels. And next one is the cuticular transpiration. As you all know that cuticle is impervious to water. After that 3 to 10% of the water gets transpired through the cuticular transpiration, and the rest of the transpiration, that is approximately 95% of the water gets transpired through the stomatal transpiration. Most of the stomata are present in more numbers on the lower surface of the leaves, and in case of the grasses they are equally distributed on both sides of the leaves. If we concerned with the aquatic plants, as you all know that in the aquatic plants leaves are floating on the water surface and lower surface is directly contact with the water. So, stomata are present on the upper surface of the leaves in case of the floating plants or the aquatic plants. Then you can see from this picture that what is most likely living through the stomata of the leaf picture here. It is saying that what is actually the living tissue or the living water or anything else from the stomata. So, you can see that this is the xylem stream and water is entered into the intercellular spaces or finally it goes to the atmosphere through the stomatal pore, and what actually is releases, that is the water, and the complete process of this water loss is known as the stomatal transpiration, that we will discuss in detail in the next coming slides. And now what is the stomata? Stomata are the teeny pores that are present in the cuticles through which water and the gases are exchanged between the plant and the atmosphere. You can see that this is the stomata and these are the guard cells in which carbon dioxide enter through this stomatal pore and the oxygen gas gets released into the atmosphere. So, question arises that what is the importance of the stomata? First one is it regulate the transpiration rate. By opening and closing of the stomata, it regulate the transpiration rate and it control the water uptake, because water is necessary for the process of photosynthesis and it also utilized for the turgidity of the cells and it also helpful in the nutrient uptake. Next one is it regulates the gaseous exchange. As you know that carbon dioxide is essential for the process of photosynthesis. So, it mainly transfer the gaseous exchange, that is the carbon dioxide and the oxygen, that is completed during the opening of the stomata. So, what are the functions of the guard cells? How it acts when the availability of the water occurs? So, it is the question that how do the guard cells reacts to the availability of the water. When water is not present in the guard cells, then stomata is closed and looking like this figure. and if water is present in the guard cells, before the water I want to say that guard cells have their own vacuoles, chloroplasts and the nucleus. So, they can photosynthesize by their own and synthesize the substrate molecule. So, their osmotic potential and the diffusion pressure deficit is high. So, these guard cells absorb water from the intercellular spaces. When these guard cells absorb water from the intercellular spaces, they become fully turgid and their inner wall extends outwards and they form a bow like shape. So, it creates a pore that is known as the stomatal pore. So, during this stomata open and gaseous exchange can occur. This is the control of the stomatal opening and closing when potassium ion is present. Here you can see in this figure that by the utilization of energy, potassium ions enters into the guard cells, means they increase the substrate concentration. Already by photosynthesis reactions, some substrates are present in the guard cells and some are added by the addition of the potassium molecules. So, there is high osmotic potential and the diffusion pressure deficit. So, water enters into the guard cells and the guard cells become fully turgid and stomata will open. Then here you can see in this figure that when these potassium ions are pumped out from the guard cells. So, with the release of the potassium ions, water contents also releases from the guard cells and at that time guard cells become flaccid and stomata will close. Before going to the detailed mechanism of the stomatal transpiration, we should know the few terms, that is the water potential, osmotic potential and the diffusion pressure deficit. So, first is the water potential, that is it is the difference between the free energy of the water molecules in pure water and the solution, and the osmotic potential. Osmotic potential means there is concentration of the solute molecules, or it is also known as the solute potential. Whereas the diffusion pressure deficit, it is also known as the suction pressure. It is used to know the ability of the cells to absorb water. So, based on these osmotic potential, water potential and diffusion pressure deficit, we will study the stomatal transpiration, mechanism of the stomatal transpiration. And the mechanism of stomatal transpiration, it is completed in the 3 steps. First one is the osmotic diffusion of water in the leaf from xylem to the intercellular spaces that are present above the stomata from the mesophyll cells. Second one is the movement of the stomata or the opening and closing of the stomata. Last one is the simple diffusion of water vapors from the intercellular spaces to the outer atmosphere. So, you can study the previous 3 types or 3 points in this figure. So, this is the cuticle and this one is the epidermis. These are the palisade parenchyma and these are the spongy parenchyma. The palisade parenchyma and the spongy parenchyma are collectively known as the mesophyll cells. So, you can see in the figure that these mesophyll cells are directly in contact with the xylem tissue, and at this time the osmotic potential and diffusion pressure deficit of the mesophyll cells is higher as compared to that of the xylem tissue. So, water diffuses from the xylem tissue to the mesophyll cells till the turgidity of these mesophyll cells. Once these mesophyll cells get turgid, they start to diffuse water into the intercellular spaces. These intercellular spaces are present just above the stomata. When these intercellular spaces are full, then these guard cells comes in contact, and on the basis of that osmotic potential and diffusion pressure deficit, water enters into the guard cells and they complete the turgidity. When these guard cells become fully turgid, their cellulose microfibrils help in the extending of the inner wall of the guard cells, and they form a bow shape of the guard cells and create a pore that is known as the stomatal pore. Now, you can see that this intercellular space and the outer atmosphere, when stomatal pore is opening, it directly in contact with each other. So, water evaporates from the intercellular spaces to the outer atmosphere in the form of the water vapors. At the same time, carbon dioxide concentration is higher in the outer atmosphere and lower in the intercellular spaces. So, carbon dioxide enters into the intercellular spaces, which is then utilized in the process of photosynthesis. Now, question arises that we are saying that water is transpired into the atmosphere. Once the water gets absorbed and it gets transpired, so what is the mechanism that it makes a continuous channel, that continuously water is transpired into the atmosphere and continuous water absorption goes on. So, here it is the transpiration pull. So, with the help of the transpiration pull, xylem sap moves upwards. For the xylem sap moves upwards means water is moving upwards through the xylem tissue. So, when water uptake from the soil, it goes to the xylem of the leaf through the xylem of the stem. So, it involves the two forces, that is the cohesive forces and the adhesive forces. Cohesive forces, it makes a strong bonding between the water molecules or the cohesion by the hydrogen bonding, and the water molecules and the wall of the cell, they adhesive to each other or form the adhesive force between water and the cell wall of the xylem tissue. So, it makes a continuous channel from the xylem of the root to the xylem of the leaf through the xylem of the stem. Once the water reaches the xylem of the leaf, it gets transpired through the stomatal transpiration. Now, what are the factors affecting the transpiration? There are some factors, for example, light, it increases the rate of transpiration because in case of the light, stomata open and it increases the temperature. Whereas, in case of the dark, due to closure of the stomata, the stomatal transpiration is almost stopped. And in case of the temperature, as with the increase of the temperature, it brings about an increase in the rate of transpiration because of the lowering the relative humidity. Because of the higher temperature, relative humidity will be lower down and stomata will open. So, transpiration will be high. In case of the humid, in humid atmosphere where humidity or the moisture content is already present in the atmosphere, so it leads to the decrease in the rate of transpiration. But in case of the dry atmosphere where relative humidity is low outside in the atmosphere, so water diffuses from the intercellular spaces to the outer atmosphere, means transpiration rate will increased. Wind, when wind is stagnant means normal wind is blowing, then transpiration rate is also normal. But when a breeze is blowing gently, gently means once the moisture content is present near about the stomata, then it removes by the air and the air becomes dry near the stomata. So, the movement of the water from the inner to the outer atmosphere, so transpiration rate will be increased if the air will be gently. And when wind is blowing violently, here is gently is writing, it is violently. Violently means leaves are colliding each other and at that time stomata will close. So, transpiration rate gets decreased. Then the available soil water. Rate of transpiration will decrease if there is not enough water present in the soil and or easily absorbed by the roots. When this absorption of water by roots fails to compensate the rate of transpiration, then transpiration rate will also decreased because at that time stomata will close. and when this turgidity or the loss of turgidity reaches to the leaf and stem, then plants gets wilting. Then what are the significance of the transpiration? Significance of the transpiration, you can see that a large quantities of water is absorbed by the plants. So, plant waste a large amount of energy by absorption for the absorption of water, whereas maximum amount of the water gets transpired into the atmosphere, which is ultimately lost through the transpiration. And some people think that transpiration as advantageous to the plants, but others they regard it as a unavoidable process which is rather harmful. So, what are the advances of transpiration? Transpiration, it plays an important role in the movement of water or the upward movement of water, that is the ascent of sap. Second is the role in the absorption and translocation of the mineral salts. Generally, the water absorption and the mineral absorption are the different processes, but once these mineral ions gets dissolved in the water and these are absorbed with the water, so some amount of the mineral salts gets absorbed with the help of water. Role in the regulation of water. Leaf gets light energy which is utilized in the process of photosynthesis, and some amount of energy is released as a heat energy which raises the temperature of the leaf. But continuous rate of transpiration, it lower down the temperature of the leaf and prevent it from the heating. Then how the transpiration acts as a necessary evil? When the rate of transpiration is high and the soil is deficient in water, then an internal water deficit situation is created to the plants and which may affect the metabolic processes of the plants. But for example, some xerophytic plants that can survive in small availability of the water, small amount of the water, they can complete their life cycle. They develop some structural development or some adaptations. For example, they reduce their leaf size or they turned into the cressolation acid metabolism pathway. CAM plants, they can be converted to check the transpiration. And in case of the deciduous trees, they have shed their leaves during the autumn season to avoid the loss of water. Now, Curtis developed the transpiration as a necessary evil. He is saying that in spite of the disadvantages, these plants cannot avoid the transpiration rate because of some internal structure of the leaf. These internal structures, these are basically means for the gaseous exchange which are required for the photosynthesis and the respiration processes. So, it cannot check the evaporation of water because of the internal structure of the leaves. Now come to the anti-transpirant. A large number of the substances are known which when apply on the plants, they retard the transpiration. These are known as the anti-transpirants. These are for example, colorless plastics, silicone oils and the low viscosity waxes, phenyl mercuric acetate, abscisic acid and carbon dioxide, etc. So, colorless plastics, silicone and the low viscosity waxes, they belong to the one group as these are sprayed on the plants. They form a thin layer on the leaf surface. By forming this thin layer on the leaf surface, they allow the exchange of the carbon dioxide and the oxygen molecule, but does not allow the movement of water. So, again the fungicide, that is the PMA, phenyl mercuric acetate. When this PMA applied in lower quantity, it exercised a very little toxic effect on the leaves, but it resulted in the partial closure of the stomata, approximately a period of 2 weeks. Stomata will close after application of the PMA. And the ABA, that is the ABAS, abscisic acid, it is a plant hormone which also induces the stomatal closure. And next one is the carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is a natural and the effective antitranspirants. As you all know that carbon dioxide optimum concentration in the atmosphere is 0.03. If we exceed the carbon dioxide concentration from 0.03 to 0.05, it leads to the partial closure of the stomata. Then high concentration of the carbon dioxide cannot be used, which results in the complete closure of the stomata, which affecting adversely the process of photosynthesis and the respiration. Related to the transpiration, one term, that is the guttation. For example, in case of the garden nasturtium, tomato, colocasia, etc., water drops oozes out from the uninjured margins of the leaves where a main vein ends. This is known as the guttation. This guttation process takes place early morning of the day, when the rate of absorption and the root pressure is high and the rate of transpiration is low. So, this guttation process occurs in the presence of some specialized types of the stomata that are present on the margins of the leaves, that are known as the water stomata or the hydrathoids. These hydrathoids consists of water pores which remains permanently open. You can see in these figures that water droplets are present on the margins of the leaves where the vein ends. So, here the water stomata, that is the hydrathoid, are present, that are permanently open. So, below this, that hydrathoids are present, below this a cavity is present, which is followed by a loose tissue, that is known as the epithelium. You can see in this figure that this is the epithelium and here is the hydrathoid present. Here is a cavity and which is followed by the epithelium. This epithelium is in directly contact to the vascular tissue or the xylem stream. From the xylem stream, water reaches to the epithelium and it transfers the water to the, releases the water to this cavity. When this cavity is filled with watery solution, this watery solution contains not only the water but solute molecules are also present in this watery solution. You can see in your real situation that in the leaves of the plants, you went to early morning in the garden, you can see that in the garden nasturtium, you see a droplet in the tip of the leaf, and in the plants you can see the white spotting. White spotting means solutes are present in this watery solution. So, when this completely filled in this cavity, the later begins ooze out in the form of the watery drops from the hydrathoids, that is the pore that leads to the process of guttation. Finally, we want to compare the transpiration and the guttation. So, what is the difference between the transpiration and guttation? As you see, the transpiration in which water is lost from the aerial parts of the plants, means all parts of the plants gets transpired water in the form of the water vapors, whereas in case of the guttation, watery solution oozes out from the uninjured margins of the aerial leaves only, whereas the transpiration occurs mostly throughout the day and it may also takes place through the cuticle and the lenticels, whereas guttation occurs through the hydrathoids, which are also known as the water stomata, and transpiration occurs throughout the day and its the rate of transpiration is being maximum at the noon time, whereas in guttation it takes place only early in the morning when the root pressure and the rate of water absorption is high and the transpiration rate is low. Thank you very much.